Here we go, episode 169 of the Hardline, a special episode. We are live today. Of course, you can get this episode wherever you get your podcasts. After this episode is done with, it'll be on the Hardline YouTube page, BTO YouTube page, and of course, all of our Hardline podcast channels. JM, a big-time episode today because not only are we talking football, but we're going to lead off with the MLB playoff race. Major League Baseball, the wild card races, the division races. The Yankees have a chance. They are currently one game back, technically, of the Toronto Blue Jays. A lot to get into. JM, how are you?
I'm good, Mike. What a week for sports. Amazing weekend coming up. Got the Ryder Cup, got Football Sunday, got the end of the MLB regular season. And we even got something that, the college football slate is phenomenal this weekend. It's going to be great. And even Puck's back. Look at us.
Yeah. JM and I will be at a preseason hockey game tomorrow night. We are super pumped for that.
Huge for the program.
Any NASCAR this weekend?
Yes. Playoff race. Kansas Speedway, actually.
Wow.
Round of 12. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot going on.
Unreal weekend.
You know, the thing about the Ryder Cup, like, I'm obviously not a golf guy, as you know, and I don't think I could sit there and watch it. But this kind of event, I probably could sit down and watch it, but I just physically can't with the weekend going on. When you have the baseball playoff races, when you have the college football slate that you have, the NFL I think it's a great slate on Sunday. And of course, the NASCAR race. I mean, how could you sit down and watch
I knew
the Ryder? How could you do that?
I knew that would get in the way. Yeah. Listen, tomorrow, just tune it on. Tomorrow will be your best shot. Friday, right? Nothing's really going on yet. Early during the daytime, put on some Ryder Cup.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We are going to start with some baseball, though. We'll start with the Yankees because they've had a very nice week here. Last weekend was good in Baltimore, and the Blue Jays went on a little losing streak. And now the Yankees currently tied, technically, because of the tiebreaker. They're a game back, so they have to win one more game than the Blue Jays the rest of the way. JM, how shocking is it to you that the Yankees have a chance here to win this division?
It's shocking in the sense that where I viewed them in the standings a couple weeks or even days ago, yes, that part is shocking. Now, from an overall standpoint, I'm not shocked. At some point, I just kept looking at those standings and looking at the run differential and being like, the baseball gods got to fix this, right? Like, this thing has to turn at some point. The Yankees are the best run differential in the American League. They have a much better expected win-loss than the Blue Jays. And I'm like, this has to just shift at some point, right? And it didn't seem like it was going to, and it still may not. I mean, the Yankees still need to, keep winning their games, and they're a game back right now. So you got to win, have the Blue Jays lose, and if you do that, you're a game up on them, but then you got to keep winning. You can't just go into cruise control now. So we'll see, but overall, I am surprised that they are in this spot based on the past week, but it's making for really good headlines.
And this is funny because we've seen this more in the National League where, and not even last year even, I mean, there was one team that did upset the team that had the bye, but does the bye worry you? I know the Yankees have won the division in these new playoff formats, but that bye doesn't worry you, right? Like, you want that bye.
No, the bye does not worry me at all. I really, really want that bye. I mean, I think anytime you could literally eliminate the chance that you get eliminated in a round of the playoffs, you take it. So the fact that they could not only skip out on a wild card round, but also clinch home field advantage throughout the American League playoffs because they're tied for the best record in the American League right now. I mean, this division race is huge for them.
And how about George Springer yesterday? On Tuesday. George Springer, after the the foul ball that should have been a 2-run double, called foul by the umpire, clearly fair. Then he gets rung up on a pitch a few inches out of the strike zone, and he just freaks out, goes back to the dugout, and you can see him mouthing, well, if you want New York to just effing win it, then just give it to them. Something along those lines. And what a loser response from a guy in the middle of a heated pennant race, a huge division race here, like as if it's being rigged against him.
Yeah, and a guy who was part of one of the only times in baseball where it was actually proven that something was rigged or there was some sort of cheating going on, and it was to his benefit. Pretty ballsy statement by him. Listen, I understand Springer's frustration. I mean, those both calls were wrong. That was a fair ball, and that was not a strike. So I understand in that spot, especially that they happened back-to-back pitches, getting that upset. But that part saying if you just want to give it to New York, like the Blue Jays, if they're going to do this, if they're going to try to play some like victim mentality, like they've been, like Aaron Boone says all the time, it's right in front of you. Like they've been able to control their entire own destiny up to this point, and they're the ones that are letting it slip right now. So that's their problem.
And George Springer has had a fantastic year. He's got 30 home runs. His OPS is well over 900. He's hitting over 300. He's been great this year.
Like I said to you at the Met game last week, I said if I told you Ramon Laureano and George Springer were two of the best outfielders in baseball, you would probably tell me it's 2019.
It's literally it's insane. And the Yankees, listen, it's a good weekend here, obviously in sports, but the Yankees have a chance. Blue Jays taking on the Rays, pretty sure in Toronto, and the Yankees have at home the Baltimore Orioles over the weekend. Now, this game is interesting tonight because it might get rained out. This game, the Yankees, bad weather. So, does a potential makeup game on Monday scare the hell out of you? And how would you manage that game?
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. I would certainly like to by Monday. Honestly, if either one was decided, that would be great. Whether we have no chance to win the division or whether the division is locked up, give me one of those. It would be really interesting. I don't think, knowing the Yankees, if they go into Monday and they win and they win the division, they lose and they lose the division, I would still find it pretty surprising if they throw Max Fried out there as opposed to whoever was, planned to start that day. Just because if you then pitch Fried and you lose, all of a sudden now you lose him for that wild card series. And considering the Yankees have that 1-2 punch in Fried and Rodon, and we don't know who that third starter is going to be, whether it'll be Schlittler or Heel, I don't know if they want to run the risk that two of those guys have to pitch in a wild card series.
Yeah. The Yankees, they would right now play the Boston Red Sox in the wild card round if the season ended today. Do you have a preference on who you would want to play, whether it's the Tigers, the Astros, the Guardians, whoever that third wild card team, that second wild card team, ends up being? Most likely at this point, looks like it's going to be the Red Sox. Who would it be?
I would say my last preference would be the Guardians because they have some sort of black voodoo magic working that they've always been able to do. And we ran into them so many times and we've been able to beat them in the postseason every single time. I mean, we've eliminated them 3 times since 2017, but still, I would not like to run into, 4 times. I correct myself. 4 times since 2017.
What are the 4 times? Last year,
2017, we beat them in the DS, the 2-0 comeback. Then in 2020, in the COVID year, we beat them in that weird series, whatever. And then we beat them with the Rock the Baby series with Josh Naylor. And then we beat them last year in the series.
Right.
So,
yes.
4 times since 2017, but still, it's not fun baseball to watch. I don't like seeing balls hitting the infield the whole inning and runs being scored like what happened to the Tigers and Tariq Skubal the other night. So just the chances of things going crashing down and going wrong, I feel like increase against the Guardians just because of how they play and what they bring. I would honestly at this point, I would prefer Boston the most, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think I would prefer them the most. The Astros still scare me, even though they're hitting a skid right now. I mean, they've got a lot of guys who have postseason experience and have experience beating us and seem to step their game up when they play us. And then, the Tigers are kind of a wild card. I don't know how we match up against them. We don't have a ton of experience playing that team, but we know the Red Sox and we know, what the state they're in right now. No Roman Anthony, and, they're banged up a little bit and they haven't been playing their best ball recently, picking it up this past week, but I think I would probably prefer the Red Sox.
And the Red Sox helping the Yankees out big time this week with these wins against the Blue Jays. The Astros are a game back right now of the Tigers, 3 games back of the Red Sox. That feels unlikely at this point. Tigers 2 games back currently of the Boston Red Sox. And they play this weekend. Red Sox Tigers this weekend, which is going to be fascinating as we move on to the rest of. We're going to come back to the Yankees a little bit with the AL MVP race, which we'll get to in a little bit. But right now, we will switch gears to the Guardians and the Tigers. The Guardians won the game on Wednesday night to officially take over the lead. They have the tiebreaker already over the Tigers, but what a collapse. This is one of the bigger collapses. 12 and a half games up on this division. About a month ago, 15 and a half up in the middle of July. What a disgusting collapse from the Detroit Tigers.
It's truly unbelievable. I mean, it almost looks like it's on purpose at this point. I mean, they have lost, what is it, 8 games in a row or something like that. 1-9 in their last 10. And yeah, the Guardians are a special case. I mean, they're the opposite of that. They're winning like 12 of their last 13 or something ridiculous. But this is a team that we were considering the best team in baseball, definitely the best team in the American League, and like didn't really think twice about it for months with the Tigers. You thought about that lineup, how the depth of it, and Baez had a great first half, and we know how good Riley Green is, and Torkelson's having a nice year, and there's the list goes on in that lineup. And then you just talk about Skubal and Casey Mize and just a good rotation all around, just a good deep team, kind of like how we view the Brewers right now, sort of how we were viewing the Tigers, and it all just came crashing down. Mike, I mean, I know there's collapses that we think about. We think about, the 76 or 78 Red Sox, whichever the team that was, that gave up the homer to Bucky Dent in the 1-game playoff. Obviously everybody likes to talk about the 07 Mets, but I mean, this is up there. This is really bad. I
think it's worse than the 07 Mets for sure. It is just incredible because you're right. This was a team that I think at one point in the middle of the year I picked to go to the World Series. You have Tariq Skubal, the best pitcher of baseball, going to be the AL Cy Young Award winner, but he only pitches once every 5 days, and he wasn't great. He wasn't dominant like they needed him to be on Tuesday. They end up losing the baseball game. So, yeah, for this team to collapse the way they did, it is incredible to a team that doesn't have really great players. They have 2 guys with an OPS over 700 in this lineup, Kyle Mazzardo and Jose Ramirez, obviously. But this is a team that you look at and they don't scare you. But for some reason, they put the ball in play. They make you make mistakes. They score runs, and they have a good bullpen, which we know is the keys to success in the postseason, is having a good bullpen. And this is what this team does to you. They're just going to grind you out. And it is frustrating to play them. And if I was a Yankees fan, yeah, if that's what it ended up being in that first round, that would scare the hell out of me. That would, because this is a team that just has some sort of devil magic, as we mentioned before, and it's working right now.
79-79 is their expected win-loss. I mean, they have a negative run differential. I mean, that is just, it's unheard of at this point to be a negative run differential, be the hottest team in baseball. They're taking over what we thought was the best team in baseball in that division. And then, yeah, like you said, I mean, you look at the offensive numbers, you talked about the OPSs. It's abysmal. I saw a stat today that they've only scored more runs than 4 teams. And it was like the Rockies, Pirates, Marlins, and somebody else, like the bottom of the barrel of the league. And then there's the Guardians. So, yeah, they have a good pitching staff. They're sort of just the same thing every year, but this year they're worse offensively, yet they're in the spot that they are just because of honestly just pure luck. It's got to be. I mean, listen, they're doing a great job. They're playing great down the stretch. I don't want to give zero credit, but there's some luck involved here. There has to be. But I really think they're going to do it. How could you not say they're going to do it at this point, considering they have the tiebreaker? They're 1 game up, so they're really 2 games up. The Tigers are playing their worst baseball of the year, and they just got embarrassed by the Guardians.
No, it does look like they're going to do it, and they have 3 guys over 700 OPS, by the way, in the lineup. That's my bad. Their starting pitching, isn't like fantastic either. Like, it's not like they have a big time starter. It's not like they have a bunch of guys that you trust on a daily basis to go in there and get you innings. It reminds you of what they did last season, which again was bullpen, using guys at the right time. And like, this isn't going to be a team that has a guy go deep into the 6th inning. And I can't believe we're saying deep into the 6th inning, but in any postseason game when they get there.
Yeah. Gavin Williams is really the only guy. I mean, he pitched okay for them in the playoffs last year. And, he's had a nice season, but there's no more Shane Bieber here. There's no more Corey Kluber. There's no more Carlos Carrasco, like some of these big-time starters these guys have had over the years. This is what they're dealing with. So it's a great story. It's unbelievable. I just don't think it's going anywhere. If we remember last year, the Tigers, who did a great job with beating the Astros, that was a big shock. But the Tigers were red hot going into the playoffs. And everybody says you want to get hot right as you go into the playoffs, and for the right reasons. But the Guardians beat the Tigers last year in the postseason. So it's not like you just go in, you're playing hot, and then you ride it all the way to the World Series. It could happen. But at the same time, I would bet more that the Guardians don't make it past their round one matchup versus, that they advance 1 or 2 rounds.
Right now, it would be the Tigers in the first round. And they play tonight, the third game of the series, correct? If I'm not mistaken. Tonight's the third game of that series.
Yep.
Yes, in Cleveland for the last one. So exciting. So exciting.
Yeah.
What else did we
want? Tigers? This is it. If they lose this game, they're conceding the division.
It's done.
I think isn't it clinched? Because then the Guardians would be 2 games up and they have the tiebreaker.
Well, what is it right now? It's
one. Oh, no, sorry. It would be 2 games.
Well, right now it's technically 1 game, but it is 2 games.
Right. So if they win, it would be 2 games, technically 3 games. So if you lose 3 in a row and the Tigers win 3 in a row.
Yeah, but wouldn't the Tigers have a better record? Let's say they win tonight. So the Guardians are 87 and 72. And then they lost the rest of their games, 3 games. They'd be 87 and 75. If the Tigers went 3-0, they'd be 88 and 74.
Oh, they have 85 wins. Oh, so they're 1 game up right now. Right, they're 1 game up. Okay, yes.
So it would just be 1 more win from.
It would be 1 more. The Guardians' magic number would be 1.
Yeah, if they win tonight.
Yep.
Fascinating stuff. Let's move over to the National League side of things. Actually, no, we'll talk about the Mariners in a little bit, actually. I'll save the Mariners for a minute. We'll go to the National League side because, wow, what a doozy this wild card race is. The New York Mets are hanging on by a thread after losing their spot on Sunday in the postseason. Got a big win on Tuesday with a Reds loss, and they currently have a 1-game lead over both the Reds and the Diamondbacks, who all lost yesterday on Wednesday, and it's just a joke. It's just a mess. I mean, this team that gets this spot is most likely going to have 83 wins, 83, 84 wins if you have a good weekend, which how could you even try and predict or expect any of these teams, regardless of who they're playing, to have a good weekend? It's been disgusting.
Yeah, it almost feels like there's nobody wants it, honestly. But at the same time, in the AL, you have the collapsing Tigers and the don't feel like winning a game Astros.
But you have teams that are winning games. You just don't. You would have teams winning games consistently in this wild card race,
right? And that's the problem here in the NL. I mean, you look at the outlook, like the Reds, the Diamondbacks. The Giants were in it; they've been eliminated. But the Diamondbacks, this is a team that was big time sellers at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many guys did this team trade away? They traded Naylor. They traded Suarez. There were talks about that they were going to trade Gallen and other guys. Like, they traded major pieces off of this roster. And now they're in the middle of a playoff push. And it almost makes you think, I can't imagine that Guardians ownership isn't kicking themselves. And the only reason I say, I could understand the argument to say, okay, well, they couldn't have expected this. But they're one of the only teams that has experienced this as being that last team in and not having a great regular season and then going to the World Series. They literally did this a couple of years ago. So I imagine that they're upset, and rightfully so. But Mike, my concern for the Mets here, they're one of the worst road teams in the majors. I mean, the splits of road versus home are so eye-popping. I don't know if I've seen anything like this recently. And they finished the last 6 games of the year, which they've played 2 of them already, but they finish it on the road.
Yeah, they're 32 and 45 on the road, 49 and 32 at home. It's been not what you want on the road. And of course, you had some Philly fans claiming that they were cheating at some point at home.
Right.
But yeah, and then you have to play a wild card round on the road and then you'd have to play the first 2 games of a potential NLDS on the road. So how could you have any confidence if you were to make the playoffs that you are going to be able to win a series, let alone a game on the road?
Well, Guardians fans were saying, how are we going to win a game? We can't get a hit. And now they're winning the AL Central. So crazier things have happened, Mike.
Crazier things have happened, but in my level of confidence, like I wouldn't say I have confidence that the Mets are going to make the playoffs. I think they are, because I just can't see one of these teams, like, even though it's happened twice now over the last week.
Yeah,
I just can't see it.
And that's exactly how I felt this whole time. And they've made it very sketchy, and it's still very sketchy. I mean, they only have a 1-game lead on 2 teams that have the tiebreaker against them. It's like these teams, the Reds and the Diamondbacks, just, you look at them on paper and you look at the season they've had, and you're like, there's no way that one of these teams is going to be able to get in over the Mets. But boy, do the Mets keep saying, like, well, you sure? You sure about that? You want me to show you?
You want to take it?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very excited, honestly, to see the record of the team that gets in. At this point, I think 85 games is not possible. You're going to see an 84 or even an 83 win team get into the playoffs.
I think it's going to be 83. And I'm pretty sure that was the record of the Diamondbacks when they went to the World Series in 2023. It was 83 or 84 wins. That was the last wild card team. Yeah, this sucks. I mean, as a Mets fan sitting here, you have that great win Tuesday night where you just feel so good. Like that was a 2024 type of feeling win. And then to get to, all right, you have Jonah Tong, you're facing Matthew Boyd, who was really great in the first 20 starts. They had a stat. His last 10 starts, not so great. Matthew Boyd shut you down yesterday for 5 1/3. And you're playing crappy defense, and you're kicking the ball all over the field. You got Pete Crow Armstrong scoring from second base on a wild pitch. You're deploying Clay Holmes and Sean Manaea in a game in which you're down 6 in. I mean, it was a really embarrassing loss. And the cherry on top, it was on ESPN, for crying out loud. You didn't even have your guys calling the game.
Yeah, not great. I just looked at it. It was 84 wins for the Diamondbacks.
84 wins.
When they went to the World Series. Yeah, I mean, they got the Marlins the last series of the year?
Yeah, which is awful, because you know what the Marlins do to this team historically.
Yeah.
Especially
the Marlins are not some slouch. I mean, they've been playing great baseball lately, so
it's going to be a war in Miami this weekend in a stadium in which I feel similar to the way you felt about playing a Tropicana, where it's just crazy crap happens and it's the worst place on earth and it's ugly as hell. And now you got to go face them. Sandy Alcantara's pitching on Friday. They pushed them back. I mean, it's lining up to be a very disappointing weekend.
Do any other changes need to be made here? Because I know that Mendoza tried something a little new. He put Nimmo in center field, which hasn't happened all year, and
which didn't work, by the way. Which did not work.
Yeah, I mean, I know they just DFA'd Siri, which I don't know if that had to do with the move at all. I mean, I know they have enough center fielders on that roster.
They brought Taylor back from the
Taylor, with Taylor and Mullins, the trade, obviously. But does any other changes need to be made? I mean, I don't really know what else you could do, but any shaking up of the lineup or positional changes? Like, can you do anything else, or do you just have to say, this is what we got?
This is what we got. Offense has got to carry them. That's what they were doing whenever they've been playing well from June on, because it's been a roller coaster. It's been really bad stretches mixed in with a good stretch, then a really bad stretch, then a good stretch, then a bad stretch. That's what the second half of the season has been. And when they've gone on those good stretches, it was the offense carrying this team. They still really weren't pitching well. From June on, they haven't. But the offense would go on crazy runs, and that's what they need, and they need it to happen now, right now, if they want to get into the postseason. And I can't imagine like Mendoza getting fired.
I was just about to say, and you think if they don't get it done, that nothing happens. As a fan, as a diehard fan, of course, I want to see somebody held responsible, because that's how crazy we are. We want somebody's head to be on the cross, whatever you want it, whatever the term is. But I don't think firing Mendoza is the right move. I don't think he is at fault for this. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I wouldn't put the blame on Mendoza. I put the blame on Stearns
Right.
or somebody from the executive level, because you just look at the way this roster, like I said to you the other day, I'm like, Soto's having a great year. Alonso's having an above average year for his standards and a great year just around baseball. Um, Lindor's having a slightly below average Lindor year, which is still a great year. So Nimmo's having a solid year. Like there's nobody really major that you were expecting to contribute to this team that's having a bad year besides maybe Senga and Manaya. You look to the pitching staff side of things, but we knew the Mets were kind of rolling the dice with this whole pitching lab and all that stuff. And it's come back to bite them in the second half big time. I mean, it's crazy the way the numbers have flipped. I'm sure you saw the statistic yesterday on the broadcast. Since June 12th, they went from having the best ERA in baseball to having the 26th best ERA in baseball. I mean, just an incredible flip. And that's bullpen and starters.
Right.
They were first and second in the first half. Now they're 26th in both.
And you're relying on 22 and 23 and 24-year-old kids making massive starts in the middle of a pennant race, which is probably not going to work, as we saw last night with Jonah Tong crap in the bed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I'm happy they're here. I'm like, they need physically, like, they literally need them because they don't have any other warm bodies to throw pitches. But this can't be great for their development.
Yeah.
And there was no chance in hell that David Stearns wanted all of them to be up at this point. Maybe one or two of them, maybe Sproat and McLean were ready to go. I mean, they were. I don't think Tong is.
No.
It's just
and that's what happened. I mean, like I said, with like you banked on some of these guys to work out. Like Montas didn't work out, and then Holmes really fizzled out. Manaya came back from injury, has been terrible. Senga got sent down. Peterson is limping to the end of the season now.
He cannot make another start for this team.
I mean, it's all of a sudden these three guys, you're like, okay, hey, you're our number 1, 2, and 3. And you're like, where the hell did that come from? So they're in a tough spot. I mean, they're definitely in a tough spot. And if they are to get into the postseason, it's going to be one of the most interesting things we've seen in the postseason of how the hell, never mind who's starting game one, who's starting. Who's just starting in general? Who's coming out of the bullpen? Who's not making the roster? Everything.
I bet a lot of money that Kodai Senga does not make another pitch for this team this year. There might be a chance he's done as a Met, but
yeah, I mean,
he is definitely
gone.
He's definitely not coming up. I mean, he threw a bullpen yesterday, and Mendoza goes, it went just okay.
I was going to say, you hear Mendoza talk. He said something last week, too, where he was like, I wouldn't say 100% that he's on the postseason roster, basically. The way they talk about this guy, it's like they don't trust him, more than if they were picking somebody off the street.
Yeah, I think I could go out there and do a better job.
So
I think that's how they feel.
Right now, if you ask the Mets who's starting 1, 2, 3, I don't know if they could give you an answer, but I mean, I think it's almost assumed at this point that in a game one scenario, McLean would get the ball. I don't know how you could give it to Peterson.
No, it would be McLean.
It would be McLean. And then that 2 guy, I mean, I guess Peterson and then Tong? You can't put Tong out there for the second game.
It would be Sproat. I'd give Sproat the second game.
All right.
That's how I would do it, but it doesn't. Nothing looks good. Nothing feels good at the moment. Let's move on to the awards here. Obviously, the big one being the the American League, MVP. Cal hit 60 last night. I had mentioned last week, if he gets to 60 and really, flirts with this record of 62, 63, I don't think the voters are going to vote for Aaron Judge. I think they're going to give it to Cal. I would still go Judge. I still think it's Judge. My opinion hasn't changed. Even if Cal hit 63, my opinion's not going to change. But I don't think he's going to win it. If I had to predict, I don't think he's going to win it.
I think he's going to win it, Judge. I think just when the vote, like from the things I've read today, the only thing that really makes me hesitant by saying that is the Vegas odds, because a lot of the times, Vegas doesn't just put odds out there. We know that there's a lot of close, sources to Vegas, and these are professionals making these lines, and these are as researched as it gets. But something like this, something that's, voted on, that opinions can change as time goes on. I think that what the voters are going to do is they're ultimately going to go judge, just because they'll look at the numbers, and when the hype fades and settles down a little bit, they'll be able to sit down, look at the numbers, and make the choice. But I don't think it's going to be unanimous. I think it's going to be close. The more home runs Raleigh hits here in the next few days is going to increase those chances. But listen, how this is even a close debate to me, it just shows the fatigue or the normalcy, how normalized Aaron Judge's greatness has gotten. Like, I thought about this today. Somebody said he's one of like 2 or 3 players to ever do this, and I'm sure the other guys are like Babe Ruth or Ted Williams or somebody roided up beyond belief. He's one of the only players to get the batting title, which it's not secured yet, but he's most likely going to get the batting title and hit 50 home runs. And I was like, that is so insane now that I think about it. I mean, you're hitting 330 and you're hitting 50 plus home runs, and you're about to break the record for the most intentional walks in American League history, and your OPS starts with 11. Like, it's insane. I think what gets people, though, is that Cal Raleigh is having such an amazing season. But if he doesn't win the MVP, I think people think like it gets kind of forgotten. And I get it. But at the same time, we can't just think that way and be like, okay, so let's just give it to him, even though he's not deserving.
Yeah. Listen, when you look at what Judge is doing, it's still historic. It's just not, the number or numbers that you want it to be. It's not the counting stats. It's not the 60 home runs. He's not a switch hitter. He's not a catcher.
Right.
Those things should not matter. It should be based on what are your numbers and what do they look like. And when you look at Aaron Judge's slash line, it's easily Judge. When you look at the value, it's easily Judge. And this is with Judge missing some time with the elbow injury and then not playing the field for a little bit. And yet his WAR numbers are still much higher. So, like, for me, if I was going to vote, it would be easy. But it also shows, not only do people forget, like, they want to just, what's the word I'm looking for? You had just mentioned something about how, like, normalized the season Judges had. I think it's also like people don't want to, like, they want to make this series. They want to recognize Riley for what he did.
Right.
And there is a voter fatigue, literally, and they want to be the guy that says, I voted for Cal. I made Cal the MVP.
Right. I definitely, and that's a major problem. But yes, I do think that is tied into it as well. I mean, the thing that's crazy to me and just shows me that this is more of a narrative-driven thing than a numbers or logically driven thing is Aaron Judge over the past 2 weeks has a batting average over 400 and OPS in the 1500s. And since then, his MVP odds have gone down like day by day. And it just shows that Judge's numbers on the year are actually improving. But because Raleigh is now at the 60 mark, and it's something we've never seen before out of a catcher, and it's a remarkable season. Like, I really feel bad for the both of them, because these are 2 seasons that are unbelievable that we don't see every year. I know we've seen it a lot with Judge because he's so great, but besides Aaron Judge, you don't see this very often. And we definitely don't see 60 home runs very often and from a catcher. So it's a great year for the both of them. Unfortunately, they're in the same league in the same year. But one point I saw, MLB Network's driving me crazy. These guys, Mark DeRosa and some of these guys on MLB Network with Cal Raleigh, they're really, really just getting out of their minds with this. Mark DeRosa made a point today where he said, in this generation, all I've heard is batting average doesn't matter and batting average this and blah, blah, blah. And it's not this important stat that everybody makes out to be. And he's like,
right.
And now people want to throw out Judge's 328 at me versus Cal Raleigh's 248. And I audibly yelled when he was saying this, because I'm like, how tone deaf can you be? People say that batting average doesn't matter, but not just for no reason. What do they say matters instead? OPS. OPS is the big thing that everybody loves now, right? It's become huge over the past 10, 15 years, whatever it may have been. And Aaron Judge's OPS is 177 points higher than Cal Raleigh's. And then you throw in WAR, which takes into account Cal Raleigh as a catcher and all these things, and Judge beats him and everything. So if he wins it, Raleigh, it's just going to be from a narrative and people, voter fatigue and all that stuff. But I really don't see a numbers argument at this point.
No, you can't. Before we switch over to football for a little bit, it's one surprise team in each league that you believe could win the World Series. Maybe not surprise, but, team that like nobody's talking about and enough, at least, as a favorite that could get to the World Series in each league.
All right. Let's see. I mean, I'll start.
I have mine. I have mine.
Go ahead.
If you want to look for a second.
Go ahead.
Mine's easily Seattle. I think Seattle's going to go to the World Series. I think Seattle's going to win the World Series. Wow. And I'm a big Seattle guy. I was just a year early. On Seattle. Last year, remember? Seattle Phillies. That was my World Series.
Yep. You loved yourself. You've loved Seattle for a while now.
I have. And the team on the National League side is tougher, but I'll say my prediction for it, which I guess is the Phillies, because when you lose Wheeler, you almost feel like it's close to impossible to get to the World Series. I feel like people are talking about the Dodgers. Obviously, they're talking about the Brewers and the Padres, and the Cubs are getting no love. I don't think they can get there. The Cubs are getting no love, but I don't think they can. So I would say the Phillies.
I actually thought you were going to say the opposite, that the Phillies, I mean, I've seen the Phillies get a lot of praise. I wouldn't consider them a surprise, but I don't know, maybe we're
not getting enough love, at least.
Okay. American League, I mean, my choices are slim. I don't think the Yankees would be a surprise considering they're the team that just went there last year. And you just went with the Mariners, and I've made it known that I'm not a big Guardians guy. So I'm going to go with the Red Sox. I mean, I think that if Anthony comes back and he doesn't even need to be 100% of himself. If he's 80 to 90% of the Roman Anthony we were seeing, they'll be just fine. And you look at that rotation, I mean, Crochet is one of the best pitchers in the American League and a guy that you feel confident pitching in big spots for you in the postseason. And then Giolito and Bayo, too. Like the both of them, Giolito has been really rock solid for the Red Sox, and Bayo is I'm comfortable if that guy's my number 3 starter. He's good. I think he's made for the postseason. He's a guy that relies a lot on the ground ball, and he has good stuff. Doesn't allow a lot of hard contact. And then they have the best closer in baseball, and I mean that's great in the postseason. And then there's a lot of guys. It's a young team, but then you have.
Edwin Diaz switched teams?
No, Mike. I'll roll this Chapman.
Edwin Diaz switched.
No, not Edwin Diaz.
Red Sox.
Nope.
I didn't. No, I must have missed that.
Not Edwin Diaz.
Oh, okay.
You have to actually have the lead to be able to close the game.
Oh, come on. Come on.
So yeah, I mean, I would say the Red Sox, and then out of the National League, I mean, I'm not going to say the Brewers, they're the best team in the NL, but I do think people in the back of their mind think like, okay, it's the Brewers. Like, they're not the Dodgers or the Phillies or whatever. I think like the Brewers are really freaking good. Like there's a reason why they have 96 wins. The Padres, I don't think would be a huge surprise to everybody. I'm going to go with the Cubs. I mean, I know nobody's giving them any love.
No love.
And I would be surprised if they were able to make it. But listen, this is an offense that is built for the postseason. I mean, they have really, really good depth in this lineup. And, if they could just get some good pitching out of Matt Boyd and Kate Horton and Imanaga, I mean, that's not a terrible rotation. So if their pitching can just have sort of like a 2020 whatever Braves that year when their bullpen just decided to be great out of nowhere, Cubs are going to the World Series.
Look at you, the Cubbies. On the Cubbies train.
Everybody loves Wrigley Field in the postseason. Why not?
I got to go to Wrigley. I'm doing Wrigley next year. 110%.
You gotta make like a weekend out of that.
Yeah, no.
Try to hit a couple spots.
I want to go see. I want to see Chicago. I'm like, I think Chicago's
great. Nice. Just don't go to
Yeah, of course.
Bad parts.
Yeah, obviously. Let's switch over to football here as we get set for a lot of games. I want to start with the Ravens because obviously they're a big topic on this show because JM is a closeted Ravens fan.
Yes.
So, like, they have a lot of issues. Their defense is not good. They are not good situationally. They have been really bad late in games for about a year now. And you saw that again on Monday night against the Lions. They were pushed around. Their defensive front was easily pushed around by a young offensive line in the Detroit Lions. I have my concerns. I think this is going to be a tough football game for them on Sunday against the Chiefs. And I would start to worry if I was a Ravens fan. I would.
Yeah, I mean, they did kind of do this last year, so I'm not going to hit the panic button yet. If I was a Ravens fan, not if I was a Ravens fan. Some of the weird concerns, like Derrick Henry fumbling 3 times in 3 weeks, is kind of bizarre, but I would leave that up to just randomness more than a fumble problem for Derrick Henry. I think it's just odd that that's happened. I wouldn't expect him to continue to have ball security issues. I don't think at the age of 32 that all of a sudden you're an all-time running back and then you just forget how to carry the football. But yeah, the defense, I have concerns. I don't really have concerns about the offense much. But the defense, I mean, the Lions, I think, have shown us after that bad week 1, they're like, hey, we're still the Lions. I think that definitely still stands. But you look at that 2-minute drill that they had against the Bills. And I mean, I know I don't know if there's defenses besides the 85 Bears that could have stopped that 2-minute drill from Josh Allen, but holy crap, was it like the Bills could have scored in one play if they really wanted to. I mean, that secondary looked terrible. Jair Alexander is more of just, him for his name than for his play these days. And yeah, that defensive front was just getting bullied around. I know they're a little banged up on the defensive line, but
They are.
I expect, if they get healthy, to improve that a little bit. But this is a very important game now. You got 2 1-2 teams in the Ravens and the Chiefs facing off. I mean, who would have thought that in week 3? And one of those teams is going to be 1-3. And whoever it is, it's going to be a huge story.
And who is more surprising? Because the Chiefs haven't played great. They got their first win against the Giants on Sunday, and they didn't play great in that game. They were really good defensively, but they weren't special in that game against the Giants. And they have the 2 losses to the Chargers and the Eagles earlier in the year, but the Ravens have blown games. They've not been good late, but their offensive stats have been unbelievable. Which is more surprising? The big offensive flashy team being 1-3, or would it be the defensive team that hasn't been great offensively yet, but is really well coached on both sides of the ball? Which one would be more shocking at 1-3?
First of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My browser, my mic disconnected for a second, but I'll answer that in 2 parts. If you asked me in the beginning of this, like before the season started, who would you be? One of these teams going to be 1-3. Who would be more surprising? I would tell you the Chiefs would be more surprising because they're the Chiefs, and I'm like, how the Chiefs have never been 1-3 in like over a decade. How would that happen? But from what I viewed through 3 weeks of football, I would say the Ravens would be more surprising me if they're 1-3. I mean, the defense sure hasn't looked great, but off of what I saw week 1 in that crazy Sunday night game, I don't think anybody came out of that saying, we're worried about the Ravens going forward in the regular season. Maybe there were concerns about, hey, in the postseason, are they going to be the same old Ravens because they just did it the other night? But just from the quality of football that I've watched, I would be way more surprised.
Lamar in these games, I mean, there were a couple of points on Monday night where it was 3rd and long, and they needed about 4 or 5 yards to even consider going forward on 4th down. And it was either a tie game or they were down 1 score. And he was taking sacks, took a lot of sacks, unnecessary sacks the other night, trying to do too much. And that scares the hell out of me, too, if you're late in the game with Lamar trying to make that big time flashy play. Now, again, give Detroit credit. They did a great job defensively against him, especially in the second half, completely bottled that offense up. But you're facing a better defense this week, and you're on the road. I like the Chiefs outright in this game. I really do. I think the Chiefs are going to win this football game.
I mean, before I get to that, just piggybacking off of your point, what they did the thing that was really concerning me was when they got the ball. Lamar had a great throw on the run to, forgive me, I don't even know who the Ravens receiver was. It was some guy I've probably never heard of. Was it Tylan Wallace, whatever the guy's name?
Wallace. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And they had it 1st and goal inside the 5. And you think between Lamar and Henry, there's no way they don't score a touchdown right now. And they go 3 runs in a row to Henry, don't get it. And then they go for it. And there was some frustration on the play calling or something with Lamar before then. They called the timeout. And then they go for it. And Lamar ends up getting strip sacked. And they lose like 20 yards. And the Lions get the ball. That to me was like, whoa. This is the line. Like, no disrespect to the Lions defense. I think they have a good defense. But we're not facing the number 1 defense in the NFL here. And you're supposed to be, I mean, you have the 2-time MVP playing quarterback for you. What are we doing? So that was concerning me.
The whole game was concerning. The whole entire game was concerning. And I thought the Ravens were going to win that football game and win it. And I thought they were going to like put on a show.
Me too.
And the opposite happened.
What's the line?
The Ravens are 2.5-point favorites in KC.
Wow. It's funny. This has been a spot every year, whether it's the Ravens or the Bills or even the Bengals, just interchange those teams. Every time they play an Arrowhead, I feel like the road team is favored.
The Bills have been favored a couple of times, and they won and covered those games.
Yep.
And I've been on the other side of the Chiefs. I've been on the Bills in both of those games. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to take the Chiefs this week. I'm going.
But listen, the Chiefs just embarrassed the Giants. The Giants offense the other day on Sunday Night Football. But I still think nobody watched that game was like, oh, the Chiefs are back.
No, I think defensively throughout the entire, like for the last 2 games now, I think you're like, all right, this defense is still good.
Yes.
Like this defense could still win them football games.
Yes.
The defense almost won them a football game against the Eagles.
If the Chiefs are around 500, not below it, if they're just around 500 by the time Rice comes back, I think they're going to be just fine.
And Worthy is not. I don't think Worthy's coming back this week, correct? Or
I think he's trending to play right now, but I don't know how many snaps he's going to get, and if that'll hold up. But right now, I think he's trending to play.
Yeah, interesting. JM, the Eagles and the Bucks play this week. Now, I just want to get the right number. How many times in a row the Eagles have went there and lost? So let me just pull that up for a second. But this has been a house of horrors, Tampa Bay, for this Eagles team. And the Eagles are 3.5-point favorites in Tampa Bay this week. And it has not been good. It has not been good for the Eagles in Tampa Bay. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I think they're finally going to get the monkey off their back. I think they're going to win this game. You have Evans out. You have Baker, who's been banged up after the Texan game. He got dinged up, and then he was dinged up again last week. I like the Eagles here. I really do. And they finally put on that offensive show that we kind of know is in there with their passing game with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, but it was really on full display on Sunday against the Rams in the second half.
Yeah, it was. This is a big spot for both teams. Not a lot of pressure on either team. I know both teams really want to win it. It's personal for the Eagles, like you said, the history they have in Tampa Bay. They just want to, either of these teams is thinking about winning their division and possibly making a run at the number 1 seed in the NFC right now. So it's a big game for both teams, but at the same time, whoever loses it, you're 3-1. There's nothing to panic about. Mike, I'm just going to get right to the point with the Eagles. Sometimes I like taking big swings with takes, right? Some hot takes.
Yeah, why not?
Because when you take the big swings and they hit, you look like a genius, right? And who doesn't like looking like a genius?
Of course.
I predict that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to do basically exactly what they did 2 years ago, the year before they won the Super Bowl last year, which is play really good football throughout the year, not really have any like convincing wins, and kind of play a boring style of football where at times their offense looks really bad and you're not sure if you're sold on this team. And then I think they're going to have some sort of a collapse. I don't view the Eagles right now the same way I viewed the Eagles last year. Even in the regular season last year, I know the Eagles had a bit of a rocky regular season in the beginning and then they trended upward, but I don't view them as the clear favorite in the NFC right now. And I think that as the year goes on, they're going to face struggles offensively, and the games that their defense can't show up for them might turn into losses.
Yeah, I disagree. I think this Eagles team is just as good as last season. I think this team offensively, they're finally getting into the groove. Remember, they have a new offensive play caller there.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that. I like this Eagle team defensively. They just lost Nolan Smith for 4 weeks, but they're good enough defensively. And I love the Rams, and I think the Rams can beat them. And my prediction would still be the Rams beat them in the NFC Championship game. But like, I think they're one of the two or the best. I mean, currently they're the best team in the NFC. And
Yeah.
I think they'll continue to be the best team in the NFC until we get to that postseason. Or I don't think they're going back to the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to win this division with flying colors, and they are going to be in the postseason. Maybe they're the 1 seed. Maybe they win a playoff game. Not back to the Super Bowl, but I think this team is just as good as last year.
This is a team. God help the Giants. The Eagles in there. I know they have a bye week mixed in here. Or no, they don't have a bye week mixed in here. They have a mini bye from the Thursday night game. They played the Giants Thursday night on October 9th, and they play them again October 26th.
Yeah, it's great.
Those are 2 weeks separated from each other. So God help the Giants. But coming out of the bye, November 10th, they go to Green Bay on primetime, Monday Night Football, play the Packers. Then the next week, they're home against the Lions for Sunday Night Football. Then they play the Cowboys, Bears, Chargers, Raider, whatever. I think November, the cracks are going to start to show. And listen, this isn't, by the cracks, I don't mean this team is going to win 10 games. But I think you're going to go into the postseason and say, okay, Eagles, Rams, Packers, Lions, whoever else. It's anybody's NFC.
That'll be big. Those games will be big because those are basically going to be tests for each team and what they look and what, like, where do you rank up the what do they call it? The
what?
Ladder, what do they call those games?
The what
when you
ladders?
when you play a really good team, another really good team in the middle of the season. The litmus test,
Litmus test. Yes.
Is it litmus test? Okay.
Yes. I mean, clip it up if you want. If they go, 17-0, I might just never appear on the show again. But yeah, or if they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting that same feeling I got with them. Like they haven't been able to get Saquon going yet.
But they just had a big game offensively.
I know if it hasn't mattered yet, but at some point, like it's gonna have to matter, and they haven't been able to do it yet. So they haven't.
Now you just sound like a hater, and I can't believe I'm on their side.
Go Birds, Mike Merlo. I mean, always surprised, but I'm not there yet. They haven't showed me enough. I think early on in the season, especially, there's not enough games on paper to back these things up in terms of like, oh, they're 3-0. Okay, well, they've only played 3 games. What have we seen on the field? I've seen a team that's won by 1 possession every single game, no matter the opponent. I know there have been 2 great opponents, but how great are the Chiefs right now? I don't know. The Cowboys look like crap now, and they just skated by them. So from what I've seen an offense that doesn't look like they can consistently drive after drive, put out great drives when they're playing other elite teams in the NFC.
They also don't lose games that Jalen Hurts starts and finishes. They just don't. I think they're like 17-0 in their last 17 games when Jalen Hurts has started and finished the game.
They're due. That's what it sounds like to me. They're due.
They're due. All right, Jay, before we get out of here, the most overrated and underrated 3-0 team in the league. I will let you start with the most overrated because you're going to steal mine, so I'll let you have it.
All right, the most overrated 3-0 team in the NFL is the team that I predicted to miss the playoffs, and that is the San Francisco 49ers. That is my most overrated team. Now, granted, I understand that they've had some injuries, especially Brock Purdy, George Kittle, other key players to this team. But, I mean, are we serious with this schedule right now? Like, we beat the Saints in New Orleans by 1 possession. Last week, you went on a game-winning field goal to beat the Cardinals at home. And then that week 1 game, the Seahawks is your only opponent so far where I've been like, wow, that was an impressive win. And it was just like a weird game. I don't know. I'd bet that if they play Seattle again, Seattle's going to be the victors. So they just lost Nick Bosa, a gigantic injury for them. I still don't view this team as the best team in the NFC West. I don't view them as the second best team in the NFC West. I view them as third best. I would put Seattle and the Rams over them. So they're my most overrated 3-0 team.
This is why I predicted them to make the playoffs, because the schedule just being so easy. I agree with you. They're easily the most overrated team. They kind of piss me off because they're really not that good, and they're going to continue to win games. They got the Jags at home. The Jags, could throw up all over themselves and lose this game, and we could be looking at a 4-0 San Francisco 49er team, regardless of who plays quarterback this week, which, again, is very frustrating. But I am going to say the Niners. I will throw out Tampa, who I'm also a massive fan of. Tampa's won these really close games late in the game-winning drives. You could throw out Tampa if you want, because they haven't looked great yet this year.
Yeah, no, they haven't. I don't even know why I decided to pick this segment, because now I'm going to have to say something that I don't want to say. But I guess by default, like they did with the division last year when they won it, by default, the most underrated 0-3 team is the Houston Texans, just because when I look at the rest of these teams, I mean, what am I going to do? Sit here and say the Jets? Like, I'm not going to say the Giants. The Dolphins look terrible. I'm not going to say the Saints. Like, there's nobody really convincing on here that I could go with. The Titans were the team that ran into my head for a split second because they played Denver closely and had a decent game against the Rams. But then
I thought you said most underrated 3-0 team.
No, it was most overrated 3-0 team and the most underrated 0-3 team. But we could do both if you want.
I'm just going to say the Giants, but because there's nobody else to say.
You think the Giants are better than the Texans?
Well, you just said the Texans.
I mean, we could both have the same one.
I don't know. The Giants might be better than the Texans right now. I don't know. The Texans look like crap.
Well, if it was to be the most underrated 3-0 team, like you said, I think it's easily the Chargers.
Oh, okay. Damn it.
The Chargers.
Chargers.
What the Chargers have done, and I understand the Colts have looked great, and they deserve their flowers too, but the Chargers to me look like contenders. I'm just going to use the vague word contenders. I'm not going to say put Super Bowl in front of it, but they look like legitimate contenders to me. A great game for them to take care of a division rival who was hungry in the Denver Broncos last week. They beat the Chiefs in Brazil, and then, maybe not the best game against the Raiders, considering how close it was later on in the game. But at the same time, I view that as, hey, you went in on a primetime game and beat a division opponent in their home opener. That's huge. So the Chargers to me, and how Herbert looks in this passing game, the fact that Quentin Johnston is like the number one receiver on this team right now, and that in a good way, I'd say the Chargers.
Yeah, it's cute. They're not only the most underrated team, they're the fifth best team in football. They're a serious Super Bowl contender. They're the second best team in the AFC currently. They have one of the best coaches in the league. They have one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league, who's finally starting to get his praise. My guy, Jay Herbie, going to win in the postseason this year. Chargers, easy. Fifth best team. The only other teams better than them currently, Rams, Eagles, Bills, Packers are the only teams currently better. I would put the Lions 6 behind the Chargers. Chargers are legit. They are going to the AFC Championship game.
Big Chargers guy, big Herbert guy, big Harbaugh guy.
Those are my guys.
Those are your guys.
Jam, I think that's going to do it. Episode 169.
That's good for us.
My throat hurts. I've done 3 straight podcasts. This has been a day.
Sure it does.
As we get set for a great sports weekend. College football, Ryder Cup, NFL, MLB playoff race, NASCAR in Kansas. Here we go. What a weekend. We will talk to you guys next week, breaking down all of it, not the golf, but everything else. We will break it down, and we cannot wait for it. Talk to you guys next week.